Morning, everyone. After looking at that great video, I wonder if there's anything else I can say to back that up. But I will say anyway. So good morning. It's here we are. We're already in February, underway with our traditions to mark the start of the year, hosting the Lunar New Year, recognizing Black History Month, and hosting the State of Port Breakfast. I appreciate you being here this morning, especially in light of the weather, but I think it was not as worse as we thought it was going to be, but appreciate it. We know that everyone here in the Port community is a hearty bunch. Our goals for today are simple. They're to thank you, our partners and community, for a great year and deliver the state of the Port. And the state of the Port is strong, and to share our vision for what it means to be a port for the future. Today's an opportunity to celebrate the past year and to look forward. But we are clear-eyed about the challenges at home and around the world. Before we begin today, as members of the aviation community, it's appropriate that we take a moment to reflect upon the lives lost in the mid-air collision at Washington National Airport and the accident in Philadelphia last week, and the first responders and industry professionals who are supporting these responses. You know, our operations at the airport and the seaport involve people, aircraft, vessels, and machinery moving with high kinetic energy, and the risks are always involved with these. And these tragic incidents are an important reminder of the risks that we constantly work together to mitigate as a community and as an industry, both in aviation and maritime. As we begin today, I'd like to start with a land acknowledgement. We're meeting on the ancestral lands and waters of the Coast Salish people, with whom we share our commitment to steward these natural resources for future generations. We take these partnerships seriously and are grateful to our tribal nation partners for the commitment to work together. I have a few more acknowledgements to make this morning. It is vital that we have a strong alignment on policy priorities with elected leaders at every level of government. There are many elected officials and staff representatives with us here today, and there's a list of them there. And this list also includes our own Port of Seattle commissioners, Ryan Calkins, Sam Cho, Fred Fellerman, an outgoing commission president, Hamdi Mohammed, and incoming 2025 commission president, Toshiko Hasagawa. I want to thank your commissioners for all your support and your continuing efforts. I also want to thank our hosts and the staff here at the Hyatt Regency Lake Washington, including those who prepared and are serving our breakfast this morning, the port staff and others who had to make this event possible. And finally, I want to thank you, our partners in the audience. The port does not do its work alone. It is our partnership with tenants, vendors, contractors, concessionaires, neighbors that make our successes possible. Our success is your success, and your success is our success. So, let us dive into how we did in 2024. At the beginning of 2024, I set out 2 words as my theme to organize our work. Those words were adapt and lead. And this summer, we faced circumstances that tested us on both counts. I'm referring, of course, to the ransomware attack. As you know, overnight, on August 24th, the port detected unauthorized activity on our IT systems and our networks. It turned out to be something every organization in the room today fears, a cyber attack. The port staff took immediate steps, including disconnecting systems from the internet and taking actions to ensure the continuity of critical operations. And we engaged with external resources to assist us in our response in the restoration efforts. This included mobilizing employees from across the port to step in where technology failed, helping departing passengers find their gates and arriving passengers to find their bags. As we know, we learned through this process, those are the 2 most important things that people want to know when they're at the airport. Where am I going, and where do I get my bags to leave? This included mobilizing employees from across the port, and it was a great effort. While the restoration efforts are underway, we faced a critical organizational decision point while we were in the middle of this. We knew that the cyber criminals would threaten to expose data they claimed to have stolen unless we paid their ransom, and they did exactly that. It was a moment to weigh our duty to protect the data that they may have accessed, while also realizing that we were working with a criminal organization that had no obligation to honor any deals, agreements, or promises. As a leader, this was a moment where I turned to our port values. And after consulting with our commissioners, on September 13th, we released a statement to the public that we would not pay the ransom and cease communications with the cyber criminals. This decision was actually easy. Paying the ransom would not reflect our values or our pledge to steward public resources and may have encouraged future attacks on other organizations. Although this course meant we had to rebuild many systems, it is a decision I stand by today and would do again if faced with the same question. So you're probably wondering, how are we doing today? Today, the major recovery efforts are complete. In the last 6 months, we not only restored prior systems, but replaced or improved systems to make the port stronger and actually more resilient to attacks. We are now working on an after-action report that will help other organizations prepare to prevent cyber attacks, or if it happens, recover as quickly as possible. While I wish we had not been targeted, I'm proud of how we adapted, and I'm proud of how we led in our response and continue to lead to build a more resilient port and a more resilient future. I want to express my gratitude to our employees and our partners for their work on the response, and that work continues on today. I also want to express my gratitude to our tenants, vendors, passengers, and partners for your patience and understanding as we resolve this issue. Now, let's talk about some of our activities that we actually had a plan for. Last year marked the airport's 75th anniversary. I joined many of you at celebrations throughout the year, both at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport and with our partners at the Museum of Flight and the Highline Heritage Museum. Hopefully you already received a copy of our limited edition, special edition of the Port History book, Rising Tides and Tailwinds. If you missed it, we have a few available at the event registration table. Our partners at HistoryLink, our author, Casey McNerney, and our communications team did a remarkable job capturing our history, and it's a great book to leaf through and see all the things that have changed in those 75 years. You know, I'm glad we spent this milestone celebrating this important event because it puts today's work in perspective of what we're doing at the port today. One big takeaway continues to be that the demand for air travel in our region remains very strong. In 2024, 52.6 million passengers traveled through SEA. 9 of the top 10 travel days in our history occurred in 2024. On August 10th, the International Arrivals Facility set a record for serving the most international passengers ever. And on August 18th, the airport as a whole set a record serving more connecting or departing passengers than any other day in our history, almost 200,000. We welcomed 8 new international services in 2024, and another 5 already are scheduled for 2025. We are connecting to more and more of the world. We enhanced our customer experience and expanded economic opportunities by opening or reopening 9 dining and retail establishments. Our team focuses a great deal on providing customers a wide range of local and national brand options. We are very proud of the diversity of our offerings and the quality of shopping that you can do at SEA. And while you're shopping before your flight, you may have noticed that there's some construction going on. I think everybody's noticed that. We are making ambitious investments in our capital program and spending $4.8 billion at the airport over the next 5 years. This means continued progress on our upgrade SEA suite of projects like the C Concourse Expansion Project. As we head into 2025, construction walls in the ticketing area and baggage claim will start coming down as we race to complete many projects ahead of the FIFA World Cup in 2026. Our teams are well underway in their planning, along with many of you in the room, for how we will welcome the world to Seattle for the FIFA World Cup. We will get a good dry run this summer when the FIFA World Cup games arrive. That'll be a good test for us. While a lot of the focus at the airport is on experience during FIFA, this is a port-wide and region-wide event. Our planning approach is focused in developing a world-class customer experience and maximizing economic activity in an equitable way throughout our region. Finally, we also continue to look further out into the future as we ensure that the airport can support regional demand in our economy for the decades to come. Last year, the airport released the FAA's draft environmental assessment for the Sustainable Airport Master Plan, covering 31 near-term projects that are needed to help address future demand at SEA. This year, we continue to advance that work process-wise when the NEPA environmental review is final and the SEPA environmental review will follow. Shifting to maritime operations, our cruise team has also celebrated a close to record season with 276 vessel calls and 1.75 million revenue passengers. Next year looks especially bright, and we expect to break records. In 2025, we can expect 298 vessels and 1.9 million revenue passengers. June will be exciting. For the first time, we will welcome a call of the Cunard's Queen Elizabeth. The cruise continues to be a growing line of business. Looking further ahead, in 2026, we will also welcome Virgin Voyages and MSC Cruises for their inaugural Alaska cruise seasons. On the cargo side, the volumes continue to rebound. These operations are possible because of the visionary joint venture with the Port of Tacoma through the Northwest Seaport Alliance and the fantastic executive partnership with NWSA CEO John Wolf and the Port of Tacoma Executive Director Eric Johnson. I want to thank them both for their partnerships. These milestones and metrics show how the port connects our region to the world while building economic opportunities here at home. This means not just operating our gateways better and more efficiently, it also means meeting our high standards for environmental sustainability and equitable economic development. One of our Century Agenda goals is to be the greenest and most energy efficient port in North America. Bringing clean electricity to the ports, to the ships at berth, gets us to that goal by reducing emissions and greenhouse gases from running machinery on the vessels while at berth. In September, we commissioned our third shore power project at the Bell Street Cruise Terminal at Pier 66. Also last year, in partnership with the NWSA, we completed construction on the south berth for Terminal 5, giving that highly capable terminal access to 2 shore power connections. Seattle is one of the only ports in the world to have all electrified cruise ship berths and 2 international container berths as well. I was just at a cruise conference last week when I was reminded that only 3% of ports in the world offer shore power for cruise. We are leading in that aspect. We are proud to lead this transformation right here in Seattle. The blue economy is an important part of our future, and we're determined to continue leading maritime innovation through our partnership with Maritime Blue. Toward this end, last year we broke ground on the Maritime Innovation Center at Fisherman's Terminal. Housed in the over 100-year-old ship supply building, the new Innovation Center will be restored in a modernized facility designed to meet rigorous living building challenge standards. For the engineering geeks in the audience, the current building was moved off its foundation to drill new support piles, and then just a few weeks ago was moved back to its original position. And you can only imagine how much engineering it took to do this. We look forward to the substantial completion later this year and then passing it to Maritime Blue for their build-out. In Interbay, we continue building key components in a new innovation corridor, starting with the redeveloped berths 6 and 8 and improvements at Terminal 91 to support operations, fishing, and industrial customers. Terminal 91 is a workhorse in our local economy, supporting a wide range of maritime users year-round, especially home porting crews in the summer and fishing vessels in the winter. Nearly 100 maritime and industrial tenants are based at Terminal 91, and that number grows as we complete the Uplands development at the north end of the facility. And this year, work was completed on Terminal 106, one of the few multi-story warehouses in our market. Our new Managing Director for Economic Development, Abe Buchakta, would be happy to connect you if you're in need of some ultra-efficient warehouse space. You can see her after this. The future of transportation is sustainable fuels, and we continue to make progress on the goal to drive development of alternative fuels for transportation. In 2025, we will welcome our first pilot program to use biofuels in cruise vessels. As part of our groundbreaking work in the Pacific Northwest to Alaska Green Corridor, which is the only cruise-led green corridor in the world, we will complete a feasibility study examining how to support the use of e-methanol fuels in 4 cruise ships. We also look forward to participating in the work of the Sustainable Maritime Fuels Collaborative. And we continue to help lead efforts to spark competitive development of sustainable aviation fuels in Washington as well. As a member of the Alternative Fuels Work Group, we generated recommendations that are being carried forward as legislation this year by Senators Marco Elias and Mia Gregerson. This bill creates an SAF infrastructure grant program that helps permitting for SAF facilities in Washington state. We are optimistic and positive about the future and where we are going, but we temper that optimism with a dose of reality. We must acknowledge the substantial economic and political uncertainty at home and around the world exists. Actions from the other Washington are causing stress as we analyze their impacts on ourselves and our community. And here in Seattle, we face uncertainty as well. Maritime industrial lands in the Soto neighborhood are under threat again, with a proposal to build housing on land set aside for maritime and industrial operations. We will fight this, but we need to do more than just say, protect industrial lands. We need to make the case to say why. Washington has an opportunity before us to make the maritime industrial lands a continued driver of our economy for the next century. The vision for this future is to develop the Seattle waterfront and the Soto neighborhood as a hub for the clean energy-based maritime industrial economy in the same way South Lake Union is a center for biotech and technology companies. The world is entering a new chapter where fossil fuel economy truly transitions to a multi-fuel clean energy economy. The value of that transition from an economic development, quality jobs, and environmental benefits perspective needs to land in Seattle. Soto is the right place to realize our vision for a diversified economy, long-term resilience, economic growth, and climate leadership. I began my comments today by sharing my 2024 theme, which was Adapt and Lead. In 2025, I'm organizing our work around a new theme, Shared Vision, Shared Success. Right now, it is especially important that we collaborate together on solutions that deliver results for our region. That includes continuing to embrace equity, diversity, and inclusion in our work. We serve a global community in a diverse region. The Port is living proof that diversity in our organization drives success, and inclusion makes us better public servants and provides better service. The Port remains committed to striving for equity in all the work that we do. This is our shared vision. Working together, economic opportunity, environmental sustainability, and connections with the region will be our shared success. Thank you for your time today. We're grateful for your support as we work together to build a port for the future. Thank you.